I'm Chris Oppenheim. People call me Church. I'm the owner of Interstate Inc. in Los Angeles, California. We cater almost exclusively to recovering addicts, and we have a program in place to help artists with addiction issues get their lives and careers back on track. We're trying to raise awareness, educate others, and reduce the negative stigmas associated with addiction. We want everyone to know there is hope, we do recover, and most importantly, even broken crayons still color. Hello, here we are today, another episode of the Broken Crayons podcast here at Interstate Inc. Today I got a pretty cool guest. This good friend of mine, Jessie. Jessie was actually managing one of the Stairways houses when I moved out here. Crazy as a June bug.
Yeah.
A little bit of a gangster in her. I don't know. I'll let her tell you. What's up?
Yeah, how do we start this? You want me to just tell you
Just
my
tell me
story?
tell me like it was, man, and tell me where you're at now, and you know what I mean? Just almost like a meeting, but
Gosh.
just have fun with it, you know?
Well, my dysfunction started real early in my family.
Relatable.
You know? Yeah, like many of us. Just complete chaos. You know, my mom's in recovery. My dad
I did not know that.
is not. And it was... I don't know if I want to go into too much detail about that, but it was dysfunctional, you know, and I early on, I dug myself into sports. I was a gymnast, and
I forgot all about that shit.
yeah, I was in the gym from like 2:30 after school till 9:30 at night. Weekends were competitions, and I didn't really have much of a life. You know, I didn't have to do PE, which was
Were
cool.
you any good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Toot your own horn for a second. Were you good?
Yeah, I was.
Good at
it. Yeah. I moved up the levels quickly. I skipped a level. But it came my life because I was escaping. You know, wanted to escape home myself.
Yeah.
It was cool, you know, and it consumed my life until it didn't. You know, I ended up having a bunch of knee surgeries, and
Is that where the drugs started?
that's where it all started. You know, I
So we have pharmaceutical companies to thank for your addiction.
they really
issue.
fucked me.
These aren't addictive.
Yeah.
We promise.
Right. Yeah, and they kept me on them for a year from all my surgeries, and then
It was your knees, you said?
yeah. They kept me on them for so long, and then towards the end they were like, yeah, we're gonna send you to pain management because the doctor doesn't want to prescribe these to you anymore. And all I heard was like, oh shit, they're gonna stop my fucking meds. So I went to street meds instead.
Yeah.
You know, I got into heroin, and the first time I did it, I shot it, and I was like, okay, like this is cool. The
first time you did it, you shot it. How old were you?
Yeah. 17.
17.
Yeah.
Late bloomer in my world.
Well, I mean, I was already into all the other stuff, you know, that you do in high school.
I'm glad you didn't start until you were 17.
Well, I mean, I was doing meth already at that point.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was a whole shit show.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I was doing the party school drugs, you know, like ecstasy and acid and all the fun stuff, getting drunk and blah, 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 you know.
Well, it was the 90s, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And my mom being in recovery.
Rave scene shit. And
she was an alcoholic. Yeah. Oh, all the raves. She was an alcoholic, you know, and she was always telling me, like, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink. So in my head, okay, I'm not going to drink. I'm just going to go do drugs instead because I won't become addicted to those. You know, my grandpa was an alcoholic. My mom was an alcoholic. So I didn't want to be the alcoholic. So I did drugs instead.
Which makes sense in the feeble mind of a fucking teenager.
Right.
Yeah.
It did. I didn't understand the disease of addiction. I didn't understand once I pick up a substance that's going to change my mindset.
I was being sarcastic, but at the same time, like, yeah.
I literally didn't understand it.
Yeah, I always say we got ourselves into something that we didn't, deformed our brains before they were formed.
That's absolutely facts.
You know, but
so true.
Shit.
So yeah, I continued on with that and quickly realized that it's an expensive habit. Like really expensive, and I wasn't willing to give up my body for drugs.
Gotcha.
So my little hustle mind was like, oh, just sell them instead. Like, that makes more sense to me. I'm good with numbers. It just made more sense to me. So I started selling drugs and getting into the crime aspect of it. And like, my thing was fraud. Like, I love to tweak out all night and figure out who and how I'm going to fuck the next person on their money, you know? And it came easy, and it was easy for me.
Yeah, I was the opposite. All blue collar bullshit. Not a whole lot of white collar crimes.
Yeah.
Pistol or.
Anyway, so fraud, huh?
Yeah, you know, and I also was like professional car crasher. I don't know what it was, but I fucking crashed like a good 12 cars, like totaled.
You don't know what it was?
Well, I'm pretty sure
drugs?
it was the drugs, but like I don't fucking know. Yeah, like my first arrest was a little simple DUI. I didn't crash it at that time. It was a little DUI, and I got pulled over, leaving a party, and I remember going to my first AA classes, meetings or groups or whatever. They had me do like some 3-month program, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna have to like go to this program, and like we'll drop it off your record, and you'll lose your license for a year." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, I can do that." And I remember going to these meetings, and this guy who had like a lot of time and was clearly in recovery, I was talking to him a lot, and he was like, "You're for sure an addict." And I was so fucking offended. Like, who the fuck are you gonna tell me that I'm an addict? But like, duh, we like see each other from like a mile away, you know, clean or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fucking offended. But like at the same time, I would leave with this dude from the group to go to his house and go do meth before my mom picked me up because I didn't have a fucking license. You know, like not really thinking like I didn't have a problem still. You know, and like I just kept getting arrested. You know, I was doing more and more fraud, more and more sales.
How are you getting caught for all this shit? Like, just.
Well,
I mean, what were you doing? Running fucking credit cards in stores and
yeah, like I made
stolen
fake credit cards off of like hotel keys, like because they had the strip
What?
on the back. Yeah, I get an embosser and I do it all. Like I'm not gonna say how, but like I would make credit cards and I would go to people's houses and like stalk their mailbox and their lifestyle for like a good like 6 months, so that I would be able to tell like, okay, well, I ordered I would order a credit card like in their name, but I know that like, so MasterCards come on Monday, Amexes come on Wednesdays.
Holy
I
shit.
knew all these things, and I would like go and get the mail before they would, you know, whatever.
So crazy,
and back
the
in the
amount of fucking energy we put into like.
isn't that sick? But I had all the time in the world. I'd be up for days and days and days, you know, and
Channeling into something fucking positive. You imagine what you'd have built by now?
yeah, right.
You know?
Oh man, but like I would like they had this thing called a bat phone that you would like connect, because like back in the day you were supposed to call from a house line to set up that said credit card that I just ordered for this family that had no idea. So I would connect a little bat phone to the side of their house, and it would connect to their house line, and it would show that they were calling, and I would just call to verify the credit card and just run the credit card up.
I was on the box of the ankle monitor at one point, and you got to have a home phone.
Yeah.
I ran a line from the neighbor's house. I didn't even have my own
Exactly.
home phone.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, we get tricky when we have time. Like, we are so smart. Addicts are like the smartest of society. Yeah. I truly believe that. Like,
just use it for the wrong reasons.
Right. And if we do just channel it for the right things, like, we're fucking unstoppable.
Yeah. Capable of quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, so fraud was my thing. You know, I would crashing cars again. I crashed so many cars. Like, I crashed a car I was shooting up in my neck, fell out, went through an intersection into a Chevron gas station. And when I woke up, I was like, oh shit. So I tried to reverse and like get out of that spot that I was in, but my car was so mangled, and I was like, oh shit, I'm caught. So I saw a homeless guy, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna I'm going to pay you drugs to tell this story. And he was like, all right, cool. So I gave him drugs and I said, here, like, tell the cops this story. A car cut me off and blah, blah, blah. We told the same story and I got out of it as just like a little simple crash your car thing. So I rented a car and 12 hours later, crashed that car too into the back of a car. Like, I am notorious for crashing cars.
Sounds like my wife when she told her story. It just like, you know, not like straight up. She said she fucking like flipped the car, and then crashed the other car literally like hours later.
Yeah,
it's just fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's just complete
same thing over
chaos.
and over again, expecting different results.
Absolutely, sounds familiar. Insanity. But yeah, so like I was actually like by choice went to rehab in 2006. It took me actually like a year of wanting to go before I actually went. My mom agreed to cash pay for me to a place in Malibu, and
cash pay in Malibu.
Yeah.
So you come from a couple bucks, huh?
Well,
some money in it. Fucking.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, my mom would have given anything to get me better.
Right.
You know, she would have sold her car, her house, like whatever to get me better. My dad at this point kind of was just like, "Yeah, I'm over you," which I understand.
It took a while for my father to reach that point, but that was actually one of the turning points for me. At a point in my life.
Right.
He was my biggest enabler, and when he even told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
Like I called him one time when I got out of prison, and I was like, Dad, I'm out. He said, I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He said, find a job, find a place to live, call me in 6 months.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, that's when I started tattooing.
Yeah, you know.
I was finally left to my own devices, and I put some effort into something.
Enabling is like a tricky thing, you know? It's like our families are so afraid of losing us, but It was the second that my mom said, no, I'm not answering your calls from jail anymore. And it was the second I tried to keep calling, and my brother would answer the phone and be like, you heard what she said, you know? Stop fucking calling. Is when I actually like got it in my head that like, holy crap, they actually will leave me.
Exactly.
You know?
I actually had my mother say to me one time, I either enable you or I lose you. Along the lines of what you were just saying.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. It is. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And from their perspective.
Yeah, but like at this point, it's I don't know. I look at enabling a little bit different now. Maybe people will disagree, but like with what's going on with the fentanyl crisis, like,
oh yeah,
people don't have like we used to just let them go get high, they'll be back, you know, like when they're ready, like take them in. But at this point, it's like they don't have enough time to be tired of getting high anymore.
Yeah, it'll just kill them before they get that opportunity.
Yeah, so it's like we need to like redraw the lines of enabling.
If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. It's fucking with fentanyl. It's not a matter of if, but when.
It's when. It absolutely is.
You will fucking die if you do that shit.
Yeah.
And you know what's fucked up? People said that to me about certain things in the past.
And when you're using, you don't care.
Didn't faze me.
Not at all.
I don't give a fuck.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I used to tell my mom I was using safely because I kept Narcan on me. Don't worry, I just keep Narcan on me, and everything.
Never mind
good.
the fact that I won't be able to
crazy.
give it to myself,
right?
Because I'll be unconscious.
Right. So dumb.
So
yeah.
You was that your last arrest?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, was that the 2006 like?
No.
When you went to the rehab, like you were just talking about?
No, that was by choice. I went to rehab. It was by choice. I stayed clean for a little bit.
How long?
Okay, well, in my mind, I was clean. But I was on Suboxone. I don't care how anybody else recovers, but for me, I can't be on anything. Yeah, any substances.
I got mixed feelings about that kind of like.
Yeah.
For me, I'm with you. It's not clean, but for me, like this thing's helped like a stepping stone at certain points, and you know, these days I don't fucking advocate them. But,
same.
You know, I feel like sometimes they're just used as a gate shot so you can fucking keep it moving for the rest of the day.
Right. Right. But at the time, I didn't understand. I didn't know what they were.
Majority of the time, that's
I went to treatment.
Case.
They put me on them, and I thought I was clean. I was going to meetings. Right. I was, doing all the things that they asked me to do. But the second I was like, oh, I think I'm okay, and I'm going to get off of them, it just went south quick. I feel for me, I was blocked from the spiritual experience that we're supposed to get from working the steps. I was blocked from it. So when I was actually off the medication, like, I did the steps, but I wasn't connected. I wasn't connected to a higher power for me, No, I've also done the methadone shuffle. I was on methadone for 5 years.
I was 4.
Yeah. I was on 200.
Cold turkey too. I just stopped fucking going.
Well,
I didn't want to.
I didn't have a choice.
I didn't want to do. Would you go to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
with me, I was drinking, and they kept fucking, you're gonna die if you drink on top of this, and I didn't give a fuck.
Nobody
but at the same time, it was just, I don't know. The alcohol was fucking my body up to the point where I was barely fucking able to function anyway. So getting up and going to the clinic became harder and harder and harder.
Right.
And finally, I just said, fuck it. I stopped going.
Ugh.
Yeah. 120 to nothing.
Yeah, that's fun. Isn't it the greatest? But again, like during that time, I thought I was clean too. I mean, at that point, I really I had some recovery, and I didn't think I was actually
seeds planted.
Clean in the program clean, but I had a job. I was living my life. I was doing what I needed to be doing, and I it was good enough for me at that time. Right. The last year of me using, I started using heroin. On top of it, I was on 220 milligrams of methadone.
220.
Yeah.
How in the fuck? I never understood that. Was there an injury, or was there? You just climbed at a fucking clinic all the way to 220.
Yeah, so the reason why was
straight setup.
I kept going to the clinic and telling them by noon I was feeling sick, and they were like, but the fact I was, which was crazy. So they were like, okay, we'll just up your dose, up your dose, up your dose, up your dose.
Piling on top of it.
No, not at that time. I was for 4 years didn't use with it, and then they gave me a peak and trough test to see how quickly I metabolized the methadone, and it was quick.
Never even heard of it.
So they were like, okay, well, we're gonna split your dose. We'll give you 110 in the morning and 110 at night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
And you kicked that cold turkey into jail?
Oh, yeah. No, let me tell you what I had on top of that. So I was doing 220 milligrams of methadone, shooting heroin and meth, and taking 20 bars of Xanax a day.
Oh, God.
I got arrested.
It's a wonder you remember any of this shit.
I remember because it's the worst day of my life.
Oh.
Worst year of my life after that. So let me tell you what led up to all that was I had been using for quite a while at this point. I was really fucking sick and tired of living the way that I was living, and I was sitting in my car with a gun, and I wanted to end it. I had been up for probably 6 days, high as shit, sitting there. I'd put the gun in my head and I'd be like, no, I can't do this. And I put it down, and I'd just be like, fuck, I wasn't answering anybody's calls. And then I'd do it again. I'd put it up. I'm like, you could do it. And for some reason, I just couldn't pull the fucking trigger. So I ended up just fucking crying, gross crying, holy shit, I can't even fucking kill myself. What a loser, So
Jesus.
I know. And so I sat in my car and I prayed for the first time, and I can't even remember how long. I always thought that God had turned his back on me, but it was really me, turning my back on him. Mm-hmm. He was with me through all those car crashes, all the everything, all of the overdose, everything.
Were you raised like that?
I was raised
church and stuff?
Yeah, I was raised in a Christian home. So I had that faith already, but I had just put it aside for a really long time. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I prayed, and I said, God, I don't care how I get out of this, just get me out. Even if it's I get hit by a bus, if I total my car and kill myself, if I overdose, if for some reason a treatment center calls me and says, hey, we have a scholarship bed. Like, I didn't care how it was, but like at the time I didn't have insurance and my parents were done paying for me. I just didn't have an out, and I didn't care how I got out, even if it was death. And I went about my day. Like maybe 2 hours later, I get arrested by the LAPD. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I had a little crimey with me, you know, and when they pulled us out of the car and stuff, and he was sitting there and he was like crying and I was like, I had just like this grin on my face. And I said, I knew that it was going to be the hardest detox of my entire life. Maybe one of the hardest things I'll ever have to do in my whole entire life. It
had to be, right?
Yeah, but I didn't care. I had a smirk on my face, and I was just like, "That's my answer."
Well, you didn't
I
get
was
arrested.
like almost like laughing.
You didn't get arrested. You got rescued.
Exactly.
So
how I got arrested? What they found in the car? Right, Was
that your charge you were fighting when I came out here?
Yeah. So when I got pulled over, I had a bag of morphine from the hospital that was in an IV in my arm.
You got an IV drip
in my arm, yes.
hanging from
a metal hanger that I hooked to the rear
view mirror.
Yeah.
Jesus,
and I was
fucking Christ.
I had a bunch of guns in the car.
This shit isn't funny, but fuck. You know, it goes along the lines of like when Vinny and I did an episode, we talked about how certain things are funny to addicts that are just not fucking funny else. To anybody else.
Okay,
but it's more of a, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry.
Right. Well, that
shit is fucked up.
Well, here's the part that's fucked up is that
it gets worse. Oh, good.
Where I got that bag of morphine from was my friend and I, that his uncle was dying in the hospital. We went to like go visit him, and you know, they came in, brought him a new bag of morphine drip, and when they left, I took it and I hid it. And so when the other nurse came in and was like, oh, where's his morphine? I'm like, oh, the other nurse went to go get it or something. I don't know.
Okay, at least he didn't go without.
Dying guy's morphine. And then he died like a week later. And that's the fucked up part. That like, if you want to laugh, is like kind of funny, but not really.
Well, I mean, you technically took the man's shit, but...
Yeah. So then I what I got charged with was sales of narcotics, sales of firearms, and fraud. I had
sales
my crimey,
of firearms. Though?
Yeah, I had like 14 guns in the car in the trunk.
Because you were selling fucking firearms.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And then my crimey, we were just about to go meet up with somebody so that we could print a check in their name so that they can go cash it.
Crimey meaning like a co-defendant. He was
right. So we were trying to
the idiot you had with you.
Yeah. So we were trying to print the checks to make the names straight on the checks while we were in the car, and he had printed one with my name and one with his name just to try to like level it out or whatever to get it straight on the line. And so when we got arrested, I was like, you're an idiot, but here we go. Like that, we got caught for all of that and all the money we had previously taken out of that guy's account.
How much time are you looking at for some shit like that?
I don't know. What I got was a 6-year joint suspension and a year in a treatment center.
Then you didn't know how much time you had hanging over your head, or was there like suspended sentence?
It's a suspended sentence.
6 years.
6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just got off probation. It's been 5 years. I just got off probation, and my case has been dropped.
Now that we've fucking told all the horrible shit.
What's it like now?
Well, not even so much what's it like now. How about like, what was it like when you first got clean? Because obviously that charge was like the catalyst for.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
it
okay,
was,
I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to fucking.
Yeah.
Like,
So
what happened?
So I ended up.
You're laughing. This would be good.
When I got out of jail, a few months later, I went to a sober living in Malibu that my friend, who's no longer with us, helped me get into. And I was there for probably 6 months. It was about like 10 months clean. So like 4 in jail, 6 out. And they didn't make you do anything. Like, I didn't have to like go to programming. I didn't have to see a therapist, a psychiatrist. They told you to do your step work, but like, I didn't want to, you know, I wasn't willing enough to change. I was willing enough not to stop using, but not do the work that it took, you know? And
that's like Michael always says, it's like explaining the color purple to a blind man.
Right.
Unless you actually put some of the fucking work in, you don't know the benefits.
No.
So when you know, I actually hate the fact that they call it step work. Because
yeah,
what junkie off the streets wants to work on
right.
anything?
That's true.
You know,
That's a very true statement. Yeah.
A new way of fucking naming that shit. Anyway.
Yeah, so they didn't make us do any work. So you take the drugs out of me. I'm clean at this point. But I still have the fucking mentality, lifestyle, cuckoo-ness of a drug addict. I just wasn't getting high. I was fucking more crazy than I was when I was using. Like, I was still selling drugs.
Really?
I still had a gun in my car.
How long were you clean? Like,
at this point, 10 months.
Yeah, I think people need to understand that that's, you know, just because you stop taking drugs, nothing fucking changes.
No. I got
your
crazier.
Heart and your mind. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's hard to explain, but yeah, it's the same person. Always has been.
Yeah. So
what the hell did you do
I was
next?
lying about doing step work. I was lying about doing all this stuff. Like, you have a spot. Yep. What step are you? 17. You know, like, I didn't know. You're going to meetings? Yep. I'm going to AA, LA, PA, FA, whatever. I'm going, you know, like, I'm
doing all that.
I'm doing every one of them. and yeah, so they called me on my bullshit, and they were just like, yeah, you're not fucking doing anything. We know you're doing X, Y, and Z. You're not doing your steps. You're not
only
going
thing you
to
were
meetings.
doing was pissing clean.
Literally.
That was it.
So they call my friend Michael, who I've known for 13 years.
Michael Lynch. I mean, his name just keeps coming up in these fucking episodes.
Well, he's such like a strong member of Narcotics Anonymous that, you know, he's touched so many people's lives.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him.
Same.
So
my...
And
so
the best part about it is I didn't know him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he reached out and offered me help, and we never even met.
Right.
I mean, we met once when he was doing like some fucking promotions for felony fights, like fucking almost 20 years ago at a tattoo convention.
Right.
But not on any kind of level where he would say, hey, I remember that dude. He probably could use a hand.
Right.
He just heard that there was like some struggling artist. But anyway, this is your episode.
Yeah, so like I dated his friend like a long time ago.
Oh, really?
And he dated my friend a long time ago and whatever. So that's how I know him. You know, he had just gotten out of prison, and he was we were both in recovery at that point. I was on Suboxone. It was when I got out at the treatment center for the first time. But so I've known him for quite a while, and the owner of the sober living I was getting kicked out of said, hey, I know a program that has structure that you absolutely fucking need, so call the owner. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I knew I had to because I was court ordered. You know, I still had to go to some sort of sober living. And I get on the phone, and I was like, hey, like, do you have like a women's house? And he was like, you said your name is what? And I was like, Jessi Brown. And he was like, this is Michael Lynch. And I was like, holy shit. He was like, no, I don't have like a women's program for you. I've tried to do these women's programs, but like it's too difficult. I'm not a woman, you know?
Right.
He said, like, can you come in and I'll give you a job? And I was like, oh, like, no. You must have not heard me when I said I just got caught with a gun and lying and manipulating and doing all these things, and I'm getting kicked out of my sober living. Like, you must not have heard that part. He said, no, I did. And he's like, no, I know you.
He doesn't
and
care.
I know it's because you're not doing the work.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, okay, I'm gonna blow your places up, but like, cool. Right. But like, that was the first bit of trust anybody's had in me in the longest time. Like
he does that, doesn't he?
Yeah, like literally, my mom didn't even trust me. She would take her purse from like one room to the next room, or to go to the bathroom, or wherever.
My wallet's on a chain because I'm pretty sure you're going to steal my credit cards.
Maybe. Yeah, I already did. Sorry. But yeah, so he put that little bit of trust in me, and I just was like, holy crap. Like, I didn't take that lightly, you know?
It's hard not to. It's like, you know, in your case, you knew him, you know, from the past, but it's like, you know, somebody I barely know is just fucking giving you the keys to the city.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, like it's almost like, here, what I'm actually handing you is purpose.
Right. At the time, I didn't know that.
Right.
And he knew that, you know? And he was like, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
And like the opposite of being selfish is being of service.
Right.
So get going, you know?
Yeah.
So I started managing the house, and I would go to the women and I'd be like, clean your fucking room. They'd be like, clean your fucking room. And I'd be like, oh, shit. So then I would go back and clean my room the next day, and then I would tell them, like, clean your room, you know, and then they'd be like,
mine's clean now.
Clean yours. I'd be like, no, it's already clean, you know, whatever. So I had to start living by what I was telling them to do.
Carried it like you were in a fucking jail.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, we started...
When I first came out here, they were talking about, like, who's managing what house and all that good stuff. I'm like, dude, you don't want me to manage a house. I'll run it like a trap house.
That's literally what, like, all I knew what to do. But I did have, like, a little simple set of rules that, like, the women are supposed to live by. So, you know, I had to start living like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and practice what you preach kind of situation.
So then it was finally come down to the time where I'm like, hey, what step are you on? They're like, what step are you on? I'd be like, oh, okay. So I had to start getting into the work, you know, and my first sponsor decided that she didn't want to, she walked me through the steps and then decided that she didn't want to be in the program anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So,
I mean, the reason I'm not surprised is because I'm not surprised. I hear people do that, you know?
Yeah, I know of a few
people. And it's
people.
like, it's on you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I say I'm afraid to walk away, that fear is more of a healthy respect.
It's absolutely healthy.
It's like you know, like a fucking, this is working, and I know what life's like when it's not working. Mm-hmm. It's fucking ugly. Yeah. You know, I got 4 years clean as opposed to almost 30 in active addiction.
Right.
I'm gonna stick
here
to this
a little bit longer. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
So I guess you started working steps.
I started doing steps, and you know, I got a little bit of relief out of my first set of steps. It was just enough to start changing my perception a little bit. And then I don't remember. I think it was right when I got pregnant with my son. I decided I wanted to do NA.
Were you in AA before that? Or?
I was.
Oh, okay.
Because in Malibu, they have one NA meeting, and that's where I was in sober living, and they didn't take us to it. It was just AA, and I'm a fucking junkie.
Right.
Toilet water in my syringe in my neck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
Yep.
Gutter water, too.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I need NA. I need it. I need it to breathe and live and function.
Well, one of my favorite things about it is people understand me. They understand them. You know, no matter what walks of life we come from.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter, because that one thing that we all have in common is this fucking like strong desire to destroy ourselves.
Right.
And like, I don't know, it's to the point where like, hey, did you hear so and so did this or that? I'm not surprised.
Right.
Like, that's
drug
addicts. That's what the fuck we do.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know, as long as I'm fucking doing, you know, like you said, the steps, and at this point, man, I'm sure you can relate. I reached a point where People say you made it out for a reason. I know what the reason is now, and it's really simple. It's just to help other people get to this point.
Absolutely.
That's it. Like the tattooing and the podcast, and it's all cool. It's all fun. We're paying our bills, and we're gonna have a good time. But the reason I made it out is to be of service.
That's absolutely it. Like I walked around this earth for up until 36 years old, not having a purpose, and when Michael put that trust into me and brought me into Stairways, that gave me a purpose. I didn't know how big it would grow into. But
and it has grown.
It's my whole life. Like I have 9 sponsees.
9.
I have this. I have the most amazing sponsor.
Same as my wife.
Yep.
She did an episode actually.
Yep.
Peggy.
Yep. She's just like me in so many ways, which is like so comforting, because when I have to tell her all my crazy, she's just like, yeah, been there, done that,
Yeah.
and then gives me a cool
Got a
solution.
fucking t-shirt and all that good shit.
Yeah, exactly. I let people detox on my couch. Like I help people all day long. Like and I love it. I love it. Like that is the whole reason why I got clean. Or not at the time. That's not why, I got clean because I hated my life. But like what it turned into is this like beautiful fucking
like
thing.
all I wanted was my fucking career back.
I didn't
even know what else came with that.
Yeah.
Like, I had a lot of people who see like the exterior shit, like they see the shop and they see the fucking, the truck, and my wife's got a nice fucking car and all that good stuff. But above and beyond that, I had peace of mind. No one's fucking trying to kill me anymore, because of some bullshit behaviors, like I fucking robbed them or whatever the case may be. None of that shit's happening. I went 7 years without speaking to my mother. I'm pretty sure that was I think it was like 7 years. I talked to her every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the little things that we don't even know that we want back that we get back.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody could have just like packaged up my recovery the past 5 years and handed it to me, and I would have never believed it ever. Like I would have never believed what it would have turned into.
Mm-hmm.
I have a son today who I never wanted kids before because I always thought they'd end up in the care of somebody else. I could never get my life together long enough to be able to do that. And he's like the coolest little kid ever in the whole entire world. Cool. I just love him. I love being a mom, taking on this new role.
I generally don't like kids.
I know.
But he's cool.
Thanks.
I like that one.
Yeah, thanks.
1 in a million, baby.
Right? A bunch of my friends just had kids, and it's just fun to like be there for them now, like with little play dates and
it's
like
funny
birthday parties.
A lot of the friends you're talking about are like we all came around the same time.
Yep.
Like Heidi.
Yep.
I think she's gonna do an episode.
She should. She's definitely should.
Yeah. But it's just cool because we all came in fucking spaced the fuck out. Heidi and I, our clean dates are like 2 weeks apart.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's one of the first people I met when I came here.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, it's just like fucking.
That's the thing about Heidi. She keeps her gratitude. She's had her gratitude the whole entire time. And that's why she's fucking clean.
Yeah.
That's a huge reason why she's clean. No doubt.
Why are you?
Oh, man. Because I do the work that it takes. I have had so many relapses, so many...
In the past, yeah.
Over 20 years of usage. I've relapsed on Xanax because I thought since it was prescribed.
It's different.
I thought since I'm not an alcoholic, I can drink. I thought, well, I can do coke instead of meth because meth is what took me down. He
needs candy.
He does. I've tried it every other way, but I never did the step work. And for me, that's what it is.
Same.
I was able to address the crazy for once.
Right. And it's like I had a guy say to me a long time ago, and he was spot on. He was like, the last thing in the readings is it's only through understanding and application that these principles work.
Oh, the
He's
application.
like, you have the understanding, but you ain't applying
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah.
And it's all hindsight because I didn't know he was right when he said it.
Right.
I'm looking back now, like,
oh yeah,
that what he meant. That what he meant. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
I love this life that I have. I would never trade it for anything. And 5 years ago, I would have traded anything for a bag of dope.
Yeah. And did. Freedom, sanity, fucking. It didn't matter.
No, everything.
It's like fucking. I think I've actually made the comment that I probably would have sold you my mother.
Yeah.
And she's probably going to listen to this.
Sorry, Mom.
But like, it's like a giant liquidation sale. There's only one thing that matters.
One thing.
Like that's why they call a crackhead a crackhead, because the only thing in a crackhead's head is crack.
Literally.
That's all they fucking care about.
So crazy.
So, I don't know. We've been doing a lot of this lately. Like, one suggestion: somebody who's fucking hasn't come to this understanding. So you know what I mean? Like,
you want a suggestion from me
for
somebody who's still struggling?
Somebody who's still struggling. Not even a newcomer. Just somebody who's. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, I guess we reached the stopping point.
Yeah.
You want to take a break, and we'll close this thing out.
Nice.
So, thank you, Jessie.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Another episode of the Broken Crayon Show. Please like, comment, share. Help us spread the word so these voices can be heard. Doses.